Hello everybody, this is me and welcome to my night routine 2020. This video has been so requested for me to do an updated one, so here we go. So it usually starts off around 7 PM, usually a little bit before it starts getting dark, and the first thing I do is walk down to the donkeys and give them a call. Donkeys! So my night routine can vary from night to night depending on how much of the sort of horsey chores I've got done during the day, but the first thing I always do is go down to the donkeys because they have all of their fly masks on, because in the morning I put their fly spray on and their fly masks because during the summer over here we have so many flies, they really irritate them and go on their eyes and everything, so these little donkey fly masks work really well. They don't actually have ear attachments because the donkeys have such long ears compared to the horses. We actually can't find any that fit, so they have to have ones without ear attachments. But anyway, when I take their fly masks off, I always love to give them so many hugs. So first I do Toby just because he was closest, next I do Bruno because he was kind of next in line of the little route I was walking, so I just take his fly mask off as well, and the donkeys just love the cuddles, they love the scratches, they're such time wasters, I could spend hours with them. And then last but not least, we have Willow, who just happened to be the donkey that was furthest away on this particular evening. So it's time to take her fly mask off as well. They actually all have their own little coloured fly masks. So Bruno's is brown, Toby's is navy, and Willow's is blue. And oh my goodness, again, she just loves the head scratches, the attention, the cuddles. Just donkeys are so cuddly, guys. They're just so sweet, and honestly, it makes my evening every evening. Just spending some time with them, and I think they definitely love it as well. So once I've taken off all of the fly masks, it's then time to walk over to their old field shelter that actually used to be Mickey and Casper's old stable. So I just pop the fly masks in the old hay manger, and it's also really good in the evenings as well to check their water. Every now and again I like to check the water pressure, make sure that all works. And also, even though I cleaned out all of their water like only the day before, we have loads of birds and ducks that like to use their water trough as a little bit of a bathing area. So I just quickly removed any of the feathers and bits of grass and things that were floating at the top, which sounds so gross. I guess that's just the reality of owning equines, because everything gets really dirty so quickly. But anyway, once I finish with the donkeys, making sure that they're all happy for the evening, it's then time to walk back up to the horses and take their fly masks off as well. As you can see, Mickey's is pretty destroyed. I definitely need to get him a new one for next summer. Casper's isn't too bad, he actually looks after his belongings, and Joey's isn't too bad either. His ears always make me laugh. The ear attachments on his fly mask are a little bit too long for his ears, so they kind of flop down and just make him look really dopey and cute. So anyway, once I've taken all of the horses' fly masks off, it's then time to walk up to the stables and put them away in the feed store, and here Joey and Mickey were grooming each other, which was just so adorable. And when I say they do this every night, I'm not even exaggerating, they are just the best of friends. When Casper, on the other hand, I'd describe him as more sort of introverted. He's a horse that kind of likes to have his own space, so he doesn't really get too left out, which is good. So once I've done the fly masks, it's then time to go onto the horses' waters. Now this can take quite a while because I've got to clean out all of the horses' buckets from the night before, which are usually pretty disgusting. Not the nicest, so I just get a hose, give them a little swill out, and then after that I also go and grab my rainbow sponge and then give it a little bit of a clean on the inside as well, because as I've said before, everything that I own that the horses use just gets dirty straight away pretty much. So I do feel like half my life I am cleaning, but you know what, to have the horses in my life, it's definitely worth it. I wouldn't change a thing for the world. So yeah, now it's time to clean the outsides of the buckets as well. Usually I don't do this too often because it's not that necessary, but I thought, you know what, I want the buckets to look all nice and clean and cute for the video. I do it every now and again because if not, it does get a little bit on the grim side. So I give it a little bit of a wash on the inside, just rinse out all of the yucky water, and then it's time to fill up all the buckets. nets. Quite a while ago, Joey actually stepped on our hose pipe, causing the front nozzle to crack, and I thought, oh no, I'm gonna have to get a whole new like hose pipe attachment, this is so annoying, but I just carried on using it broken. I've actually kind of found out that it's a lot better with it being broken, because if you're an equestrian, you'll know what I mean, but basically, it means that I can leave the hose pipe in the bucket without worrying about the hose pipe suddenly jumping out or flailing around because of the pressure, so it actually stays in there quite well. So once I've got all the waters out of the stables, it's then time to grab all of the hay nets as well. This can be quite a fiddly job because I'm so bad at undoing knots, so I'll usually be here for like a solid 5 minutes trying to untie Mickey's hay net. Anyway, got his, so I've got Casper's, I've got Mickey's, and then lastly we've got Joey's, and soon you'll be able to see I have a bit of a colour theme going on here. So all of Casper's stuff is purple, all of Mickey's stuff is blue, and all of Joey's stuff is green, and this just helps me out so much because then I know whose is whose, especially when it comes to head collars and hay nets as well. These hay nets here are all different shapes and sizes because Joey has the biggest, Mickey has the smallest because Joey's the biggest horse and Mickey is the smallest horse, so I need to make sure they all have the right size hay nets as well. So here I have a really handy dandy little contraption that I use for making my hay nets, because before I would just used to always struggle trying to actually find the hole for the hay net to put the hay in it. Here I am struggling carrying all 3 hay nets at once, but walking like a boss, there we go, managed to do it without falling over. So here I've kind of organised all of the water, so we have the hay water and then we have the water. So here I'm putting Casper's hay net in the hay water. So there's actually quite a few different reasons why I like to soak the horse's hay. Number one being Mickey having a mild respiratory problem, so he coughs whenever he has dusty hay, so this just removes all of the dust. I also like to soak their hay because all of my horses are good doers, so they don't need to eat a lot to put on weight. So soaking the hay actually reduces the sugar content. This is something that Bailey's Horse Feeds, one of my sponsors, recommended me to do, and it's actually been helping a lot, and I've just carried on doing it, and the horses actually prefer having their hay soaked. Joey definitely does. The other day I gave him some unsoaked hay and he literally grabbed it in his mouth and plonked it in his water bucket to make it soaked, which is so funny. Once I've done that, it's then time to do some mucking out. Now this is something that I quite like to get done in the morning or in the middle of the day, maybe after I've ridden or before, but on this particular day I didn't have enough time, so I left it till last minute in the evening. Sometimes that does happen with horses, your life can get quite busy. Anyway, on this particular evening it was actually the horse's new shavings day, so as you can see Casper has a beautiful lovely big bed. Now I'm on to mucking out Joey's stable. I also mucked out Mickey's, but thought I'd just show Casper's and Joey's so the whole video isn't just me mucking out. Joey actually has a bigger stable, as you might be able to see in the video from this very wide angle shot. So here I'm just getting any little poops that I missed, sweeping up to make sure that we don't lose any of the shavings, because if not they just blow out of the stable because it gets quite windy over here sometimes. Then it's time to spread it all out and make his bed, and obviously I had to do the little satisfying sweep at the end. So by the time I finished all that, it's actually started to get a little bit dark now. Here I'm using my lead rope method with my buckets of water because they are so heavy, it would be so bad for my back to try and carry it with my arms, so pulling along on a bit of string is so much better. It actually feels a lot lighter and it's just easier to move. Then this bit is probably my least favourite part, is pulling up the hay nets. They're quite heavy, so I have to lift them up, let them drain for a little bit, and then I pretty much just lean my whole body weight against it to try and make sure that I can lift up the hay net without getting water on me. I also need to make sure that the water drains into the bucket and not all over Joey's stable floor. So that's why when I was doing the sweeping of the shavings, I did like a little bend rather than making it straight to make sure that there isn't any shavings underneath where the hay is, because don't want that to get all damp and also to get the hay mixed with the shavings. It's just not good, just for making it a bit easier for me when it comes to mucking out. Then it's time to drag Mickey's hay net over as well and do the exact same thing. Mickey's hay net is actually a little bit easier to do just because it's smaller, so it's lighter to lift, but I still have to hold it up a little bit to let it drain. It's funny because you can see on the wall where the hay net's been because it's smoothed out the wood. And then once I've tied up the hay net, I also like to flip it around. It just means that the knot isn't on the side that they're going to be eating their hay. So then lastly, it's now time to go on to Casper's hay net. And yeah, I have to do this every single evening, guys. It is a bit of a workout, you know. This is good for me. It's getting me to do some weightlifting. You know, who needs to go to the gym when you have horses, when you can lift up a very heavy hay net? So yeah, need to do my little knot as well. And by the time I'm putting the hay nets up, all the horses usually come over. Joey was here very confused because all of the lights were on and he was like, oh my goodness, it's so bright. Also, this really triggers me because the lead rope got stuck in his head collar. So yeah, then it's time to get Joey in. So I just undo the gate. He was having a really good look around. He was very curious. He was like, oh my gosh, all the cameras are out, but it's evening. It's not filming time at the moment. So yeah, time to lead him in. Make sure I close the gate so Mickey doesn't escape through. And then it's time to lead him into his stable. And usually you'd think, oh, Joe would go straight for his hay. Like, he does get a little mouthful, but he always likes to look back out of his stable. So I put his little stable chain across, because as soon as he goes in his stable, he's like, oh my goodness, where's Mickey? Where's Casper? So I always grab Mickey next, just because Mickey's in the stable next to Joey, so then he's happy because he's got a friend with him, because like, oh, what's happening to Mickey and Casper? I can't see them. So grab little Mix, who's always very excited to have his dinner. As you can see, he's storming off. He knows exactly where to go when it comes to his stable. And unlike Joey, he doesn't care about the other horses or where they are. He just goes straight to his hay net and straight to his food, which honestly, Mickey, just such a mood. I can relate. I'm like that when it comes to my dinner. Yeah, Joey's still having a little look out, seeing, oh no, where's Casper? Is he coming in as well for dinner? So Joey likes to make sure everybody is happy and everybody is in their correct stables and everyone's there. So Casper I always grab last as well, because he's the most chilled. He doesn't mind if he's left out in the field on his own. He doesn't care that much, as I've said before. He likes his own space. He doesn't really mind too much about the other horses. So then it's time to lead him in, and he definitely knows where he's going. I could probably lead him in without a head collar, because he'd just walk straight into his stable. As he does here, I kind of let him lead himself in, just chuck his lead rope over his neck to make sure he doesn't stand on it, because that would not be good. And then it's time to take his head collar off. You'll also notice that when I put the horses in, I like to put their little stable chains across, and the reason why I do this is because I need to next grab all of the buckets of water that the hay has drained into. Here we have some super cute clips of all of the horses enjoying their dinner and enjoying their hay. As you can see, Joey's very happy now all of the other horses are in, and he knows that they're all okay and they're all in for night and nobody's been left out. So now we've got the lead rope back and we're dragging all of the water and draining out. I always make such a mess doing this, but I always find it really satisfying, because all of the dirty water in the buckets is pretty much horse tea. So it's like hay that's been soaked. It's kind of made like a hay tea. Probably has a bit of dust in there as well. It's me splashing the buckets everywhere. As I've said, I'm a little bit clumsy sometimes and a little bit messy when it comes to these buckets. So once I poured out all the water and stacked up all of the buckets and put them away, it's then time to do a little bit of sweeping and make sure that there isn't just water that's really gross standing on the yard or on the concrete. So I also sweep up any of the shavings that I might have missed when I was mucking out earlier, bits of hay, and just make the place a little bit tidier before I go to bed myself. It's actually really surprising that every time I do sweep the yard, it pretty much transforms the whole stable. So before, with all the dirt on the ground and things, it looks absolutely disgusting and just grimy in general, and then once I've swept, it makes everywhere look spick and span and so tidy and organised and clean and fresh. Here I have Mickey and Casper looking over because they know what time it is. It's treat time, of course. Before I put the horses to bed, I like to give them a little bit of a treat when I go to close their stable doors and put them to bed for the night. Here's Mickey looking very eager because he knows he's next in the treat queue. He also gets a little head rub as well. well, a few scratches. This is often where I give the horses a lot of love, a lot of kisses, a lot of cuddles, and yeah, they're just so affectionate. Joey here was a little bit confused. He was like, I want my hay, but I want the treats. But there's so many lights everywhere. What is this? He was just a little bit confused because he was like, it's usually not this bright when I go to bed. Why are all the cameras and the lights out? But he was very good and came out in the end. He was a little bit shy, a bit camera shy, but he got lots of cuddles and kisses and attention and head scratches because Joey is just so affectionate. He loves the love. But unfortunately, I can't give the horses cuddles and attention all night. I do have to go to sleep myself, so it's time to shut up Joey's stable door as well, give Mickey a last little pat and treat, and also give Casper a little pat and treat because I always like to make sure that none of the horses feel left out, because I like to make sure all of the horses try and have the equal amount of time and attention. So lastly, it's just time to lock up.
Alright, night Casper, night Mickey, night Joey. Sweet dreams.
So once I've put the horses to bed, turned off all the lights, make sure that they're all happy for the evening, it's then time to go to bed myself. So I just walk up to my loft. I always bring a glass of water with me because I'm one of those people, I just always have to have water by my bed, usually because when I wake up I get very thirsty. So once I've done that, it's time to hop in the shower and make sure I'm not smelly from all of that mucking out, and also time to get ready for bed as well. So I'll wash my face, I'll brush my teeth, do my little skincare routine, and also put on my pajamas as well. So for today I had my very fluffy jumper on and also my Dalmatian pajama bottoms. Don't judge guys, they're actually very comfortable. So anyway, once I've got changed into my pajamas, put my hair into a messy bun, it's then time to get ready for bed. Here I'm taking off my mountain of pillows when I only like to sleep with 2. So anyway guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're new or have not done so already, please like and subscribe, it really does help me out and I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!